D-Lo for boxing. All right, y'all, been a while since I did one, but you know, I had to drop one every once in a while when something comes up to me buzzworthy, worth talking about, something that really got me excited about the sport. Not to say that there hasn't been anything that got me excited about the sport lately, but a lot of it's, you know, just having the time and also being in the mood to drop a video. But Devin Haney versus Brian Norman Jr., Brian Norman Jr. versus Devin Haney, however you want to call it. For Brian Norman Jr., Brian Norman Jr. belt at 147 pounds, his WBO title. I think that's a good fight. I think it's a great fight to be made. I think it's one of those fights in boxing that oftentimes gets talked about but doesn't get made. You got Devin Haney, who was once an undisputed champion at 135, moving up. He's had a fight. He's had 2 fights above the 135 limit. I'm pretty sure this is going to be a full-fledged 147-pound bout with the title being on the line. I think it's a good fight. I think that we got 2 young, hungry fighters who are out there who both have something to prove. Who both thinks that, you know, they're among the best in the sport. Not just the best in their respective division, but in the sport, period. So I think anytime you got 2 young, confident fighters going at it, you got a prize at stake, that WBO title. You know, I'm sure, you know, the eyes of the sport is going to be on them. You know, I'm pretty sure this is going to be on one of the Riyadh cards. I think this is what I saw on the flyer. Just overall a good matchup. When you think about what both guys bring to the table, you got Devin Haney with his superb boxing ability. Isn't known for being the biggest puncher, but then you got a guy who knows how to win. Devin knows how to win fights. Devin knows how to neutralize what a guy does well in more cases than not. You know, I know what's fresh in everybody's mind is the Ryan Garcia fight. Did Devin do a good job neutralizing what Ryan Garcia does well, which is land a left hook? No, he did not in that bout. But that doesn't take away from what Devin does more times than not. I always say that a thing in boxers, just like anything else, is what it is the most. And most of the time, Devin Haney is great at neutralizing what an opponent does well. So I'm going to say that Devin Haney, that's who and what Devin Haney is and does. So with that being said, we got to look at Brian Norman Jr. Brian Norman Jr. He has good boxing skills. He has great power, in my opinion, for the division, and he knows how to land his punches. He's a scrapper. He's also a guy who knows how to win fights. We've seen Brian Norman Jr. in some fights where he's had to overcome some adversity, but he got the job done. And we've seen that with Haney too. Like I said, save for the fight I mentioned earlier, we've seen Devin Haney overcome adversity, and even in that fight. I mean, Devin Haney, if you wanted to talk about the Ryan Garcia fight, I'll say that I gained a lot of respect for Devin Haney in that fight in terms of his heart, his determination, his will to continue, and his will to keep on fighting. I mean, if you take away one of those knockdowns, Devin Haney probably wins that fight outright, or at worst a draw. And I know the fight ended up being a no contest because Ryan Garcia abused PED for that fight. But even if you take that out of the equation and just say, you know, just based off of how the fight played out and how the fight was scored, you take away one of those knockdowns, and if that goes as a Devin Haney round, Devin probably wins that fight. I don't have the exact score in front of me, but I just wanted to mention that. But, you know, with all of that being said, I just like the fight. I think this is a good, tremendous matchup. I think these guys are going to come out there and give it everything they got. I don't think this is a fight where if Devin Haney chose to put it in cruise control and just say, I'm going to fight a certain way for 12 rounds, and I'm going to neutralize what Brian Norman Jr. does, and I'm going to box my way to a victory. I don't think Norman's going to allow him to stay comfortable. I think if Haney was able to take away one thing from Norman and be able to start to get some separation, I think Norman knows how to go up a level. I think he has the IQ and the will and determination, but also he's young enough, hungry enough, still has enough in the tank to find a way to get his licks in. You know, find a way to stem the tide and turn the fight around. But also he has a neutralizer in his big punch. Whereas you know, if we look at Haney's last performance against Jose Ramirez, you had a guy who seemingly can't pull the trigger anymore. So that's a stark contrast to what you get in Brian Norman Jr. Devin Haney is not the guy Brian Norman Jr. has been feasting on as of late. So I think it's a good, tremendous fight for both guys. It's a step up for both guys in its own right. Definitely a step up for Norman Jr. in terms of opposition, in terms of what Devin Haney has done in the sport. It's a step up for Devin Haney in terms of fighting a young, hungry guy who is a champion, who is not showing the signs of being a shot fighter whatsoever. Not a guy on the back nine, but a guy with a lot to prove, just like himself, who wants to show that he's amongst the best in the sport. So I look forward to this bout. I'm thankful that we're going to get it. I hope there's nothing in the way that's going to derail it. And I think we're going to get a great fight out of this. That's all I got on it. D-Lo 404 Boxing. Like, share, comment, and subscribe. I'm out. Peace.